episode of Not Gonna Lie. We are here with episode 7. It's your boy Earl. Matt is in the building. Obi is here. We want to
Yes,
wish all
sir.
the fathers a happy Father's Day. We hope that you guys turned up and got lit for the 23rd most celebrated holiday in the world. But we hope that y'all turned up today. We know there's fathers out there doing the thing. A lot of sports to get into today. We're gonna start with our
Happy
not gonna lies. We're gonna start with our
Happy
not gonna
Father's. Not gonna lie, Happy Father's Day to every father besides Joe Harris's father.
lies.
F
Oh man.
him and his pops.
I'm sure his
That's
father did
cold
not
Nah,
want
blooded.
anyone to know
nah,
that he was his father after his performance in this
nah.
series.
Both of them gotta leave town. I'm done. I'm done with them.
So with that being said, we know we got some game sevens to talk about, but let's jump it off with these not gonna lies first. Go ahead, Matt.
So my not gonna lie is not gonna lie. The Phoenix the Phoenix Suns can win the NBA championship possibly without Chris Paul.
Whew. Possibly without Chris Paul. You don't have to explain, but do you want to give a you want to give a one sentence? You don't have to.
The way that team is constructed is way more deep than I originally anticipated going into the playoffs. And yes, Chris Paul has, carried the load for the regular season, but they're so deep that I would say that they still are a contender without him.
Yeah, it's not a bad take, especially the way they looked after following game one. Um, Go ahead, Obi. Not gonna lie.
Mine's gonna go right into it. So, I'm not gonna lie. The only bigger bum in this playoffs than Ben Bummy Simmons is Joe Harris. I really hate you. Do not listen, Joe Harris.
So
He's no good in this
as,
town. He's no
You're
good
not
in this
good
town.
city. You're not
as
good
the
in this
resident
town.
Mets fan, you have the
No.
floor, sir.
Listen. You are a bum. You had one job. One job. You were the highest rated 3-point shooter in the regular season. You shot nearly 50% from the field and you shot the most threes. This like one of the most threes to and with that kind of percentage. Like you are a serious bum. You single-handedly blew game 3 and game 7. You
Ugh.
had the wide open mid-range in game 3 to seal the game when you were up 2. You had a wide open 3 in overtime of game 7, wide open. Broken play broken play to Blake Griffin, passes you the ball wide open. Not one person running to you at all. You could have tied your shoes and then shot that 3. You blew that game. I know you had money on the Bucks, so I'm not as mad because I could tell you had money. I'm blaming Nash for half of that. Nash is a young coach. He did his things with adjustments, but he did not sub you out. And I know either you or Nash had money on the Bucks because that was ridiculous. He should have been played chairman instead of you. So I don't know. Listen, I don't ever look at the camera like this. Joe, I better not see you in New York City. What was that joint that was talking?
Joe's no
was
good.
talking about?
Joe's no good in these streets.
What was that? That joint?
Would you
that
help
went
him?
viral
Would you
or
help him
something?
change a flat tire, Obi?
Bruh, I come and pop the other 3. Listen. You remember that girl that was on that went viral talking about like Osama, I better not see you in
Oh
Brooklyn.
yeah.
She was
Joe
like,
Harris,
ISIS,
I better.
ISIS, don't come to Brooklyn.
Yeah. Joe Harris, I better not see you in Brooklyn, bro. You might as well leave. I don't know where you're from. I don't care. Just don't come back. You ruined my whole night. like I curled up in bed and watched the movie. Like I didn't want to talk to nobody. My friends was hitting me up and I was just responding. Joe Harris is done in New York, in Brooklyn, all that. We could trade him to the
You
Knicks.
can never
If y'all
work in
want-
this town again.
He's
Give
no
me
good.
Alec Burke. Give me whoever you want for the Knicks for him. I'll take Knox. I'll take Kevin Fortnite Knox for this guy.
Fortnite now.
This guy, I don't ever want to see him again. Yo, sometimes you just know, like, the speed of the playoffs is just different. Like people come back, people get to you fast enough, and then it just gets in your head because you're not as open as you were. But when you just there's a difference when you missing wide open clanks. He's clanking. You could talk about everything. You can talk about KD's foot on the line after hitting that miraculous shot. Cool, whatever. This guy, it's up to 59 seconds left in overtime in game 7, wide open, and you miss that shot. Unforgivable. You cannot. If imagine he was a Nick, imagine that happened. He would have died already. This would have been like, how in FIFA, not FIFA, in soccer, the FIFA Cups, whatever, and the person makes a blows a save or some shit, something really bad happens,
and the crowd is ready to shoot him after the game.
Or the referee, and they have to like put this dude in witness protection, they find the house, and this is that. Like if he was a Nick, it would have been over. They would have. He's lucky he's from Brooklyn. He's lucky he's a Nets when there's only like 12 fans, including myself and like a couple of us, because that was nuts. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
All right, I'm done. Whoever want to talk, listen. I hear all y'all. Y'all want to blame everyone else. You can do that. You can blame Harden playing hurt, whatever. I'm telling you right now, you're not getting it out of me. I ain't blaming them single-handedly. Joe Harris, who blew game 3 for a wide open mid-range, and then the best shooter supposedly in the league. He won the 3-point championship too. And then Joe Harris, game 7 overtime, he blew it. So I'm not. You could. The floor is y'all's. I'm just saying, Joe Harris, he blew the entire series.
Yeah.
F
let
him.
me get it
because y'all sent to me.
I don't disagree with anything that you said. I just think that I don't think the term for anybody on the net side of things is blame, right? Outside of maybe Steve Nash. He's the only.
Steve Nash played a good series, in my opinion. But that's just me. Now, go ahead. Besides keeping Joe Harris in,
I think that. So here's the thing. I agree with you in terms of Steve Nash about the about him making adjustments in terms of offensively and defensive strategy, but the rotation, it was tight like that. In my opinion, either two things happen when a coach keeps a rotation tight like that. It's either he's got so much trust in these guys. These are the guys that got him here, and he's just going to keep riding them. Or because he's unproven, right? I don't know what the word that I'm looking for, but so I'm going to just say clout. He doesn't have the clout or the cachet to make a move like pulling Joe Harris without it being questioned if it doesn't work. You know what I mean? So some, a more confident coach or a coach with a better resume may have been more willing to to pull a trigger on a move like that in a game 7, where it's like, look, this guy's literally only on the court to do this, like you said, and if he's not doing that tonight, then it's winner take all. Let's roll the dice and see if there's another hot hand. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't helping your team in any way, so that's one that's one substitution that I felt like, and you already alluded to it, that he should have made that he didn't make. I also think that he stayed small a little bit longer than he should have.
There's nothing bigger on the roster besides DeAndre. So it's not, and DeAndre hasn't played in a month and a half. So it's not like.
So I mean, once Brooklyn,
Lamarcus canceled out on the season.
I hear you. I hear you. So do you think that Blake, they planned on not playing DeAndre this entire playoffs?
They stopped playing him. He got outside of the rotation.
I mean, I know that they stopped playing him, but so their plan was to beat Philly, Milwaukee, possibly Utah or Phoenix, all teams with serviceable bigs with KD at without playing a center. I'm legit asking.
Yeah, I think so. I think again with Kyrie, things are so much different, right? So it's like everything else gets like microscope when Kyrie's off and Harden's forced back into action with the level 2 strain too, which is like a tear in itself. So he couldn't run, and they didn't disclose that until after. They made sure not to like harp on that, even though like everyone knew that he couldn't run. Like he would stop the ball in fast break. So, but to answer your question, I think that was the plan from the beginning because they have Claxton. He's a skinny guy, but he's nice with the switches and whatnot. But like they weren't planning on having anyone that couldn't shoot out on the court that long just to space the floor, especially because Bruce Brown had a sub in for Kyrie.
Yeah.
So
So
like
let me.
Bruce Brown's playing 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and it's like with 50 minutes in overtime, and it's like now you have a 6'4" guy that can't shoot on the court, so no one else can be on the court that can't shoot.
Yeah, yeah. Bentley, go ahead. Ask what you were about to ask, and then come back to me because I want to at least finish. You know what I
I
was
got
saying.
you. So I was gonna say, um, yeah, I know you want to come back to your point, Earl, but and this might deviate from it a little bit, but
It's all right. It's all right.
y'all are both referencing the Joe Harris non-substitution. Were there any other options as far as James Harden being subbed out, knowing that he's playing on one leg? And he was ineffective. He's just as ineffective as Joe Harris. I think he went like 2 for 12 from 3.
So
But he's facilitating the offense, so I don't know the
Yeah.
Nets, like as far as their other resources to somebody else who could possibly have facilitated the offense outside of James Harden.
Yeah, I think purposely like they had the option of Mike James, but Mike James is a score first guard, whereas Harden has showed that he can be a facilitator, even hurt, and as you alluded to. And the thing is that like Harden's the smartness in his chemistry with Durant is just they're on that same wavelength. Even when he came back from the injury immediately, he played 46 minutes, and last night he played the whole 50 whatever plus minutes, the entire time. He missed like 0.09 seconds, or 0.9 seconds. So I just think Mike James is not, it's just he wasn't built for that moment, not yet. I mean, maybe next year see what happens, in terms of, but it's like you can't really sub out Harden. But like Joe Harris, to answer your question, I would say Joe Harris could have been subbed out for Shamit. The reason why they didn't do it, I understand why Nash and someone else brought this up to me, is Shamit is limited on defense because of his size, where Joe Harris can move and still guard. So it's like, but it's a risky dynamic because when it comes to those big playoff games, and even the Bucks started to do it too because they realized like, yo, you got to shorten your roster. So you go from 10 deep to 7 no matter what. And if you play in your 8th and 9th team, you're at a disadvantage. I mean, 8th and 9th player, you're at a disadvantage because like teams are shortening it up, and you got stars out there, and you got like former stars out there at the same time. So it's like, you really can't just play Shamit for a little bit, get his understanding of the game, and then play him later. Like, because if at the end of the game, it's easy to take out your defense. It's easy to take out your defenders and put in all offense because it's about getting buckets. But if Shamit hasn't played the entire game, it's like, do you put him in? So I saw the dilemma, the Nashes. I would have subbed out Joey from the first 3 he missed, or the second 3 he missed, just because he didn't have it. He was missing layups. Every time he missed, it was a 5-point swing. He missed the layup, another team came down 3. He missed the 3, then the other team came down and hit a 2. So it was just like, yo, this guy was just out of it. It's because I think it's also to wrap it up, I think it's also because he's such a marksman during the regular season. His team is used to him making his shots. They're not getting back when he's wide open. And it's like, oh, this guy's wide open. He missed that, and before you know it, the ball's going over the head, and it's a bucket. Every time he missed, it was a bucket. So it was just like, damn, man, like he was a detriment to that team. And I don't feel bad for saying this. I don't want to ever see you in these streets, Joe. I promise you, don't pull up. I promise you.
So,
go ahead.
Like I was saying, in terms of not placing blame on, using the word blame, when I'm talking about the Brooklyn side of things. That's mainly because the points that you just that we just highlighted, like there wasn't really much else for them to do. You know what I mean? Like in terms of,
I think Shamit.
I mean that's still only one thing. You know what I mean? Like that's one possible move, and we don't know if Shamit was going to come out there and go 0 for 10 also. You know what I mean? But
he would not have.
But I mean, you don't know that. Like so
he's wide open. He was wide open.
Hey. So what's more important to me about in this game? So the 2 things that really stood out. besides Kevin Durant firmly planting himself as right now the best player in basketball. Um, which I alluded to in one of my not gonna lies a couple episodes ago. He laid it all out there. I also want to give a shout to Blake Griffin, who may have just earned, he may have just earned himself another year, another contract. Nothing crazy, but he definitely breathed some life back into his career. But I really think, although Milwaukee won, this is about Milwaukee. You know what I mean? Like, this is really about Milwaukee. And I don't mean that in a good way. They tried everything they possibly could to lose that game. Like, I mean, we've alluded to the fact that they didn't even make the adjustments that they needed to make until game 5. They didn't even start trying anything different until game 5. Then after that, the ineptitude that they showed down the stretch, Giannis is a bad basketball player. He doesn't really know how to play basketball. Like when I watch him now, his playmaking has regressed, his ball handling has regressed. Not that his
free throws.
I mean, it was already bad, but now it's just in the toilet. I mean, have you ever seen a crowd affect someone at the free throw line like that? Have you ever seen? Bro. I've never seen anything like it.
They started their own shot clock. They started their own shot clock. And then he shot an air ball.
I want y'all to know. I was on my basketball nerd stuff while I was watching, and he started hitting the free throws. And let me know if y'all noticed this.
That's what I'm gonna say. Like, he hit.
So hold on. Let me tell you what I think happened. It looked to me, right, like he started on his intro. You know, like his ritual.
His routine.
He was dribbling. His routine is the word. I don't know why I couldn't find a word. When he was going through his routine, he started to dribble the ball on the same count as the crowd. I don't know if anybody, I never heard the commentator say it, but I watched it like 3 times, and it was 1, 2, 3, 4, and he counted it out with them, and then shot it, on 10 or whatever, and he made about 5 in a row that way. Which wasn't my point, but if he was doing that on purpose, ingenious, adjustment mid game, But Brook Lopez, let me isolate Brook Lopez for a moment. You call a timeout because there's only 2 seconds left on the shot clock, right? You call a timeout so you can get a quality possession. That's why you call the timeout. You come out the timeout, they throw it to Brook. He clearly doesn't know that there's only 2 seconds left. Like that. So those are the type of plays that lose you games, lose you series. Giannis off the little dump off down in the paint, fumbles it, goes through his legs, you know what I mean, and goes out of bounds. These are the type of plays that lose you games. If not for Jrue Holiday deciding that he could hit a shot down the stretch, and KD just happening to have his foot on the line, which is the last point that I want to make about why this is about Milwaukee, Brooklyn would have won. Brooklyn would have won that series, So my last thing with Milwaukee, the end of regulation. Kevin Durant is 6 seconds left, right? Kevin Durant, we know, is going to get the basketball. We know with the amount of time that's left, chances are it will not be a complete drive to the rim. He's going to be taking either a catch and shoot or a pull-up jump shot, right? That's a reasonable guess, right? With 6 seconds left, right?
Nah, I think you could easily get the bucket with 2 seconds, 3 seconds.
You could get to the hoop. Seconds. Okay. But you're assuming he's going for the tie then. You're assuming he's going for the tie.
Which I wish he did in overtime, but yes.
Okay. Right. So cool. That doesn't, change my point. Fine. So even still, in that situation, even if you hadn't had him guarding him the entire game, and I'm not advocating for saying that Giannis needed to guard him in that situation just because he's Giannis. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just because he's taller than PJ Tucker. Like, period. Like, chances are. And so, if nothing else, you at least. So, to your point, Obi, if he can still get to the rim, which sure, 6 seconds is enough time, at least with Giannis on him, or a taller defender, I'm not even saying Giannis, someone who can close out better than PJ, you're at least making him think about, should I try to get this win or should I drive and take the, and go to the cup? They don't do that. They leave PJ on him. As soon as I saw that Giannis was guarding the inbounder, the inbounder, I said, oh, this game is over. KD's about to win. And literally it played out exactly like I thought, except his foot was on the line. He turned, PJ Tucker was too short. He shot over him. He made the shot. And it's like, if you're going to win the championship, you got to make the moves that are necessary to win it. And I'm not going to say that it's not a championship roster, but it's just not a championship DNA. And they were not making championship plays down the stretch. They stumbled to that, they stumbled to that series win.
Like Chuck said, they the dumbest team.
Yeah, it was a lot of dumb stuff, So that was that's where I leave it.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I don't feel even though I picked them to win, to beat Brooklyn, I don't feel confident that they will be able to close it all the way. And they should beat Philly. Atlanta. They should beat Atlanta. But I don't know that they're gonna beat the Clippers or Phoenix. I'm not sold on that based on what I saw.
All right, so a couple things. I disagree with a lot, and let me just start with and I'll try to wrap up this whole thing quickly. But Giannis, it seems like, I don't know if you're victim to this, but it seems like everybody is trying their hardest to not give this man the credit that is due, regardless of how ugly his game is. The man just had 40 points in game 7. 40 points in game 7, and he was hitting big shots, big layups, big whatever you want to call them, hooks, in late in the fourth quarter. He won that game. Finally, his teammates decided to show up. Middleton gave him something. Drew gave him something. He was doing his part this whole series.
Middleton is good at home. I'll say that.
And he wasn't. He hit his shots later on in the game, but he wasn't good for most part. But let's look at this man had 40 points in game 7 and was willing his team to a victory. He was hitting and ones within a minute left in overtime and in regulation. Like, that's things that no one wants to give him credit for, because people think his game is ugly, which it is ugly. And I think he's something that rhymes with itty sometimes, but like but like, we got to give credit where his credit's due. And then he went 7 for 8 from free throws at the end of, to finish out the game. So it's like,
go ahead.
It's like, yo, this man went against the hardest team. Yes, he didn't guard KD, but again, like, yo, Jordan stopped guarding Magic after the first game of the series.
Let me just stop you right there. Hold on. Were you about to say, before you stopped, were you and said whatever you were saying about KD, were you about to say he went up against the hardest team? Was that what you were about to say?
I was gonna say the best player, but
okay. Did you say? You said hardest, so I didn't know what.
It's harder to say hardest team because they weren't healthy. No. That's
why I asked.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, how could you say that?
Maybe it's the hardest team left. Who knows? I don't know what the Suns. I still don't know what the Suns are, because the Suns haven't played like a good healthy team.
Full, yeah,
they haven't played a healthy team yet. So who knows? But yeah. So I just wanted to give credit to Giannis. I really don't care for his game, but he was really, really, really clutch, and his teammates finally came through to hold it down in the game. And then in terms of like Bucks blowing, yeah, the rest of the team just wasn't there. Like the entire series, like they had spots, and Drew came through spots. And I think honestly, like yo, real talk. I know you said this and that with Suns, whatever, or Clippers. I think Bucks are winning this championship.
I mean,
I
but
think it's
but
gonna be
the thing
light.
is that they
I think it's
should.
light
They're the
too.
best. They're the best
Healthiest,
roster
best team.
with the best player, right? With the best player left.
I don't
right.
no. Booker's the best player left.
Okay. I agree with that.
But
I
yeah,
agree
but
with that.
I think
But
you
you wanted
put
to, I mean,
Drew.
I didn't want to poo-poo Giannis while you were giving him his flowers. So
I'm not. I guess it was flowers. I guess like they were these dirty flowers that were left over in the crib. I gotta give it to him.
There you go. There you go.
But I gotta give it to him. But at the same time, it's like yo, his game is ugly, but yo, he was clutch, and we can't like.
That's fine.
We can't
I
like.
won't. I'll give you that. But can I think for me personally, the reason that maybe I'm not giving him, or I didn't give him as much credit as maybe he was due. I mean, I didn't say he played poorly, but I think that I'm me saying that he's not. I shouldn't have said he's not good at basketball, but he definitely.
You mean he's not skilled?
He's not skilled. He's really, really,
I
really,
understand it.
really not skilled, and he's most of his points of attack are from places on the court where a skill player, you know what I mean, would initiate the offense. He's not playing like a big, you know what I mean, like and
I think that I always blame Milwaukee for that. I don't blame Ben.
That's fine.
I don't.
I mean, that's what I said. I said this is about Milwaukee.
I think Milwaukee. I think he's a center, and they keep playing him as
just because he can dribble a little bit. Like
just because he can dribble a little bit, they think that they put so much on his shoulders. Where you know what, this is a year where it's gonna be a lucky championship. Someone's gonna get it, and I don't mean this is like degrade the chip that whoever gets it. I just think it's because a lot of injuries is going to be a team that never an anomaly, and my brother always says this too, like he's talking about like, what he always shits on LeBron. He doesn't like LeBron, but he always talks about like his first chip was a shortened season. How they back in the day, the historians, or not historians, but I would say people that were the aficionados back in the day, they would be like, Tim Duncan's ring doesn't really count until he wins it again, and that's kind of where I got the saying from, because that 99 chip, it's going to hurt Bentley because it's going to hurt Bentley.
I was about to say the Knicks caught a whole lot of flack because that's their last finals appearance, and it was
but you got to think about it though. It's the 8th seed that went to the finals, where that kind of like highlights the fact that shortened season.
No, they was
something.
Real.
But I think also the
why were they 8th seed?
Because there's a shortened season.
I mean, the Knicks are real, and they.
It's a give and take, like the.
Could that could play into it too, right, Obi? I mean, I'm not saying that that's the reason, but that could definitely be part of it, right? Like, had they played more games,
but then
they would
Knicks
have
beat like the Heat and the Pacers. Like, who would have beat them? Who would have beat them that they didn't run into? Is my question.
Oh, you mean in the playoffs? Nobody.
I
they lost when they should have lost. That's what I'm
saying.
It's just the things, like, for example,
nobody can.
Right?
When people bring that up, nobody can name an East team that could have took the Knicks out that they didn't face.
Sometimes, right? Let's say the different seasons, the team that's number 1 seed at the 50th game isn't the team that's number 1 at the 82, and sometimes the whole thing changes. So that's where it comes from. It's like a whole season didn't pass by.
What happened with the amount of games?
Who knows what happened? Maybe the Knicks would have been higher, maybe the Knicks would have been lower. So
nobody's been able to tell me a team that maybe have gotten knocked out earlier that season that could have beat the Knicks. The Knicks played good teams that playoffs. They weren't like, it wasn't like, oh, you were able to avoid I don't know. What's the East? The Cavs, if they were powerful that year, whatever.
Right.
And it's not like the Knicks were able to duck them because of seeding. And there's no team that nobody's able to tell me that could have took the Knicks out that they didn't play.
It's just a difficult thing, because it's like when the shortened season happens, things are different. Like, teams catch their stride after the All-Star break. But it's like that's the same
but-
kind of amount
but
of games.
when you
At the
say
end of the
Obi,
day, that don't matter because Patrick Ewing dislocated his wrist anyway.
that's really what that was. I was about to say.
Yeah.
That's
At
really
the
what
end
it
of the
was.
day, we
with
didn't have
injury.
Patrick Ewing for the finals, bro. We weren't gonna win that shit anyway. So the Knicks could have missed the whole playoffs if it was a full season because Patrick Ewing dislocated his wrist. The Knicks probably wouldn't have made the playoffs at all.
So
Yeah,
I get
that's a
what
good
you're
point.
saying.
That's a good
But it
point.
seems like you're like focused in on the Knicks, and I understand why because I blow them up. But it's more lines of the like if you take the names out or the teams out, it's just different stuff happens when it's a shortened season. Things
I mean, I
differently
just
things
agree
happen.
with you. I just
Hold on,
told you the Knicks probably wouldn't even made the playoffs because Patrick dislocated his wrist.
So
I'm not saying you're
this
disagreeing.
goes
I'm just saying you're focused on the Knicks, and I had nothing to do with. I understand I brought the Knicks up, so I apologize. But what I'm saying is that in those shortened seasons, people say different things happen where it's like, and for example, now this is a shortened season, and it was a shortened off season, which is the key. So now it's like
so Obi, we talked about this. Before with the bubble. You know what I mean? So really, what this says is nothing that you're saying is incorrect. It's just what is the lens that you're looking at it through? Are you viewing that as are you viewing different or asterisk or whatever it is as a negative? You know what I mean? Or just different? You know what I mean? Just because normally when you say a bubble chip, right, which is what you hear a lot of people saying, that alludes to it not, it gives a energy or a connotation of
That
it
is
not
invalid.
being as good, right?
Yeah.
Which some people
so
may mean it like that, but some people may just be saying, like you're saying, if you won the ring in a lockout year, that's an anomaly. There was something weird that happened. Probably wouldn't have been able to have.
Well, I'm not saying that. I was just
played
repeating
out normally.
Yeah, I want to make it clear. I don't subscribe to that belief. I don't think that a shortened season changes. I can understand where they're coming from, especially the shorter the season, the bigger anomaly can happen. I don't believe it's different. The shortened season, like I don't sit there and say to take away the chip because they played 20 games less or 10 games less. But the bubble is a completely different. I think it's like something we talk about. Like you can see the shortened season. It's like, but it's like I consider it kind of like just like some, just like now people are hurt. You get lucky, you get lucky. It's not, it's not like something where I sit there and say, oh, this doesn't count. Now the bubble, on the other hand, that's a bullshit. When I say the bubble, I mean bullshit. Like I try not to curse. That's the
Can you just
to me,
explain to me how that's in any way different from the chip on the lockout year?
Oh, yeah,
like,
I'll tell you exactly why. Because they came in they came in and play. They came in to play open gym basketball in front of
okay,
actually
so
in front of nobody.
Besides the details of it that you're giving, right? Besides
Okay.
the narrative that you're building, what happened was they played NBA games in a way that was not normally played, right? It was not the normal way that the NBA game or season would have been played out, correct? That's what the bubble was, right?
Is that how we're gonna do it? We're just gonna
I'm asking you, if you tell me no,
without,
you don't
like,
think so.
'cause I'm
If you
just
tell
like,
me no, you
like-
don't think so, then
That's like saying like we're comparing. I don't know. I don't want to go into all that, but like
I think
yes, you can
they played a AAU style marathon towards the end of the lockout, where they had meaningful games that they were playing that normally wouldn't have been meaningful, based on where they were in the season, and that affected their seeding. You know what I mean? Like,
so to answer your question all from circle, I don't think it's the same thing at all. I also think whoever wins the championship this year is a champion. I don't take away from it like the bubble or like cook them. I don't say you need to win it again. If the Bucks win this chip, that stays with Giannis doesn't have to win another chip for the rest of his life. That's his chip. If the Bucks won last year in that bubble, I would have been like, yo, Giannis, you ain't shit. You hit those free throws because there was nobody in the crowd. Like, we need to see you do it again. So it is what it is. Miami just got knocked out in the first round and got smoked by the team that they smoked. So you gotta see the difference in that. It's like the bubble is BS. Like players was doing dropping 50
comparison. Different rosters.
What comparison? I don't compare exactly. I don't believe in the comparison.
I'm just
Milwaukee
saying,
was not the same team. That's what he's saying. He's saying Milwaukee wasn't the same
bubble team roster wise. Like,
They had
so
one
I feel
different
like that's
player. What you talking about, Drew?
Are you talking about the max player Drew Holiday? All
Oh my
NBA Drew
god.
Holiday? Is
Oh
that what
my
we're talking
god.
about?
So
Are we
so
gonna act
hold on,
like
hold on.
he's just a role player?
Hold on. So you're saying he's the difference between a sweep and losing in 6?
Bro,
That
I'm not
that's
gonna
a
compare
that's
the
a
amount of games won, but you're not gonna sit here and tell me that they added a player
that's a 6
and
game
called Drew
difference.
Holiday a player. Bro, I don't know
Okay,
what the impact is in the X's and
so
O's, but
don't
you can't do
ever
that.
kill any team for having one injured player. If you saying the dude Drew
When
Holiday is a
have I ever
difference a
done
6.
that? I've been on your
Okay, I'm
side
not saying
in
you
the
have.
Nets with saying Harden was hurt this whole time.
Listen,
What are you
to
talking
go
about?
from to go from to go from to go from losing in 6 to get it was losing they lost in 6 to go from losing in 6 to sweeping a team the year later. You're not telling me Drew Holiday is the change of. You're not telling me he's the change of that. That's crazy. It's just the bubble was a different
No,
atmosphere.
that's
These
not
dudes
crazy to me. That's like changing the quarterback and saying, "Oh, you changed one player."
quarter come on, bro. Yo,
We're talking about an
just because you
All-Pro
put Spurs
NBA defender, bro. This is not a random role player.
I mean, he's not
bro,
a random role player. He's been
Tyler he
I'm
Tyler
not talking
Hero.
about
Tyler
he
Hero.
none
What
of those guys that you gonna name are even
are
half,
on the
half,
level of Drew Holiday.
not even
What are
half.
you saying? Bro, Drew Holiday, bro,
Tyler Hero.
y'all wasn't even talking about Drew Holiday last year.
But
Don't
that
sit
doesn't
there
mean
and
he's
say
not better than them.
Bro, I
That
don't talk
doesn't mean
about
he's
a
not
lot of
better than
players.
them.
I don't talk about a lot of players. What does that mean? That's not a good baseline.
Drew just had a very bad series and had
I
a good
agree.
game at the end of it.
I
So
agree.
let's not act
I
like this
agree.
guy has been
That doesn't
killing.
change what that doesn't
Okay, hold
change.
on. Okay, look, Tyler Hero. I'm telling you, the difference between Tyler Hero in the bubble and out of the bubble was completely different.
Who was
So,
guarding
so,
KD
so
on that
even if
last
I don't
shot?
disagree with that, which I
What does
don't,
that
Odie,
mean?
I'm just asking you a question. Who was guarding KD on that last shot? That
What does that mean? What does that mean? I'm asking what that
I'm
means.
just asking
I
you
asked
a
you a question.
question. I asked you first.
We
Answer
know
the
the
question.
answer, so we know the answer.
I'll
So why?
answer
What
yours
does that
after you
mean,
answer mine.
Drew? What does
Answer
that mean?
mine. Answer
I just
mine.
answered it. I said, Drew, what does that mean,
I'm showing you the man that can impact games.
Bruh, you talking about going from 6 games to a sweep, bro? It's not like they got swept in the first round. They went to the NBA Finals, bro. What are you like? That's not crazy to you. That's not
so
a
no, I
hold
just
on, hold on, hold on.
hold on.
Ben. I'm talking to Ben. You're telling me a team winning, retaining, going to the NBA Finals, winning 2 games in the NBA Finals, mind you, retaining everybody, getting swept in the first round is not crazy to you?
I think that adding Drew Holiday, all NBA player, is going to severely impact the series between those two teams.
They had LeBron and AD in the finals, and they still didn't sweep these dudes. These dudes got swept by a team that beat them 6-4. Come on, you're not even trying to make entertain like how crazy the difference between the bubble is. This guy,
I mean, but I
it's like,
think it's also the same way that you're downplaying the impact of Drew Holiday. Y'all both doing the same thing.
I'm not saying Drew Holiday's not
I mean,
nice.
we're not going to see eye to eye, so
he's
I
not.
don't.
He's
You
not.
can
I'm
ask me
saying
the
this.
same questions, and my
I'm
answer
saying
is the same.
not. Come on. I'm saying like there's a difference between being good and being where I don't care if you add Kyrie to a team, bro. You're not going from beating a team in 6 to sweeping a team to losing in 4. That is ridiculous.
We're gonna
They
agree
got
to
2 games.
disagree.
They got
I'm not
2
gonna lie.
games. Hold on. They got 2 games on
I see what you
the
did
Lakers, and they were unhealthy. They had Bam was hurt, and they had Dragic was hurt, and they still won 2 games against the Lakers. They lost to the Bucks in 4 and got blown out by 20 in 3 games.
So the same way, and I've already made this point to you. I don't know if it was on the pod or just us talking, but the same way that you are penalizing the teams for being in a bubble and how they performed, the teams that were able to flourish, perform well, get it done. Why is it not that they are getting a credit for it? You know what I mean? Like it seems like there's no
credit
win in
for-
that. For because clearly everybody whatever this version of basketball that you're saying it was, that was not NBA basketball is what you're saying.
Over Jim.
there were still guys that whoever was able to get it done in that open gym situation, they were able to get it done, and some
You
were
guys
not.
started this.
So
You guys,
are guys being penalized? Why are guys being penalized for being able to perform in that situation that they were placed in? They had no
There's an
control over what happened in that bubble, the same way that guys have no control over when guys get hurt. If you're not going to put an asterisk on championships for the circumstance, right, a injury or whatever, then why are we putting an asterisk for the circumstance of playing in the bubble? Like, that's just, it seems a little, it's an unattainable, goal. Now, if you're just saying that you want to see the Lakers specifically come back and win it again because they played an injured Miami team, I guess I don't really have a pushback to that. Like, I'll give you that, but to say because of the environment that they were in, that seems a little bit unfair if you're not going to also have that same energy around other things that are out of players' control, like injuries.
You guys just started this whole podcast off talking about Giannis and his free throws and with the crowd and with the effects, and then later on figuring out how to work with it. Like, there's a difference in playing in front of 15K fans and going back and forth, not eating the same food or flying over to another court, thinking about that game the entire time, than compared to just sitting in your room, coming out and playing in front of nobody in open gym. I'm sorry, that's never happened in basketball before.
Now, I'm not disagreeing with you. Hold on, Bentley. I'm not disagreeing with you with how you're saying that it plays out, but you're deciding which is more difficult. You know what I mean?
I'm not. I'm telling you.
It could be more difficult. It could be more difficult to say it could be more difficult. And I made this point before. There are guys that were going to benefit from an empty gym, and there were guys that are not going to benefit from an empty gym.
And I
know what I mean?
I said neither should. There should be no benefit or a con. There shouldn't be an either or. It's different. It's that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not the same. It's not the same basketball. You're talking about if it's harder or easier. I'm saying not calling it harder or easier. I'm saying it's not the same basketball.
You said it was BS.
It's not the same basketball. I'm not saying it's harder or easier. I've said this 100 times, Earl. Every time we've had this conversation.
Does that not make it easier? You said it was BS.
It means that doesn't mean anything. It just means it's not the same. There's bullshit. It's fugazi. It's fake. It doesn't mean it's easier.
It's fraudulent.
It's different. It's not the same diamond ring I thought I had. It's a different diamond ring. It's not. It's a
no. You're saying
it's fugazi.
Fraudulent. Easier to attain than a real diamond.
Fake is that's not negative.
Easier. You can say it's a negative. I didn't say it was a positive. I said it's not easier or harder. I said it. You can say it's harder. You could say it's easier. For different players, it's different things. Paul George was harder. Tyler Hero was easier. I'm not saying
that's perfect. I agree with that.
Exactly.
100%.
And I'm saying that it shouldn't be either or. It is not the same basketball.
But the same. Hold on. But and all I'm saying is that the same thing happens with it becoming easier or harder for one player if they have other players available to them or not. Like, if I got injuries on my team, now me winning this series has now become easier or more difficult, right? Like,
and those injuries have been a part of the last 50 years of basketball championships or 70 years of basketball championships. But the one thing that hasn't been is a bubble without touring, without making love to your girl before the night of, or going to the strip club or whatever you do in your routine, and then traveling back and forth to teams. That's been the beginning of basketball.
Instinct. 1 in a million, an anomaly. All of these things are fine with me, but as soon as you started saying things like BS, fraudulent,
I hear you. I think you would be siding with me if
that to the dudes that actually went through it. You know what I mean? Like,
only person that would.
It's a smack in the face. It's a smack in the face.
I think. I hear you,
and a little bit, and in my opinion, a little bit hypocritical to not hold up. There's other championships that should be held to the same standard.
What other championships?
I mean, you're saying because of the injuries, and you're like, well, injuries have happened for 50 years, but it was still something that was out of their control. These guys had no control over having to play in the bubble.
But the Lakers
What was I
had that.
supposed to say? No,
They had.
What-
Hold on. The Lakers had that asterisk of injuries. They played against an injured Bam and a not playing Dragic. So it's like
okay,
it's.
okay.
But that's
I
normal.
said
That
I have no
happens. That
argument with
happens.
that.
It's a stamina. It's a stamina game or it's a longevity game. Like that's 82 season. That's what happens. But you can call it lucky. But you can't sit there and say that that's never happened in basketball. This has never happened. I mean, we're gonna go on and on and on. So you can close
I
your
have
argument
no
on this.
problem with it. With the never happened. You know what I mean? Like I don't. That's not what my point of contention is. Like, and if that is what you mean, which that's not the points that you're making, and the energy that's behind it is not saying that. It's saying that this doesn't count. You know, like
I have always said this: whoever wins the bubble, it'll count if they win it again. And then the Lakers won it. It just happened to be now we're at odds because it was the Lakers. If it was any other team that won the chip, I think you'd be saying the same thing. You'd be like, yo, I gotta see you do it again. If Giannis, the bad basketball player, won in that bubble, we would all be I would be saying the same thing. We need to see this guy win it again.
The reason that I think the Lakers, the reason, so we don't disagree that we want to see them that we want to see them do it again to validate the first championship. It's the reasons why that we disagree. My reason why is strictly because they played an undermanned Miami Heat team in the finals that probably shouldn't have been there anyway. You're saying it's because of the environment that they were placed in to play.
Yeah, Disney World. Okay. We already went way over our time, so let's just like shit on Ben Simmons really quick.
I'm with it. Let's go.
And I apologize for going too far on that. Whatever. So that's my fault. Ben Simmons, really, really bad at basketball. I've been killing him all podcasts. It's a podcast. I probably killed him the first one. So if anyone wants to go before me, I have a whole bunch of stuff to say about Ben. I could probably just sum it up in like, honestly, that man just doesn't care about basketball. Stop caring more than he does. You fans care way more than he does. This guy literally is so good at being a floor general, and it's annoying because it's like his team falls apart without him. But then it's like you have such a dynamic, and everyone wants to blame Doc, but it's like, you have such a dynamic. It's like you have a floor. Imagine Chris Paul being your floor leader, and then you gotta sub him out in the entire fourth quarter because he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to touch the ball, and then when he is on the court after the 2-minute mark where he can't be fouled, he's hiding at the block. He's hiding. He turns into Reggie Evans, Taj Gibson, as my man's Gabe would say, when it comes to the end of the game. So it's like, what do you do with him? I don't know what Doc could have done better, but every single game that they lost was because of Ben Simmons, who had like 5 field goal attempts today or 4 or whatever he does. So the floor is y'all's. Embiid, heck of a series, heck of a season. I know that with the meniscus tear, you played through it and you did your best with the meniscus tear. You fell short, and I heard that you were actually unable to ride the bike or any kind of cardio during the time period, so you were falling short later on in the games, getting a little tired. But today you played your butt off. You hit some big shots. The free throw, I mean, not you were at the free throw line area, but you weren't at the free throw line, hitting some big mid ranges to like keep that game close. At the end of the day, one team had a point guard.
Yeah.
One team had no point guard.
So
to end the game.
I not a lot that I'll disagree with there. I mean, the only thing that I'll say is, if we're killing Ben so much, which rightfully so, is he really that much worse than Giannis in terms of what they bring to the table? Like,
Giannis just had 40 points. He just had 40 points in Game 7.
So is the reason they
had 5 points.
They play a similar. Let me get to it.
I'm looking at his stats right now, homie. I ain't gonna lie, I had this shit up too. What? I was like, hold on.
Not only did he have 5 points, he had 4 shot attempts.
All right, you gonna let me get to it?
Go ahead, right. Go ahead, do your thing, boy.
So, we know in terms of the skill set that they bring to the table, there's not a huge difference, right? Do we agree in that? In terms of the way that they play the game, the things that they're good
I
at, the things
completely
that
disagree.
they're not good at.
Completely
Okay,
disagree.
so all right,
I
so then
think
let me stop.
they just both can't
Go ahead.
shoot. There's the only thing that they both can't shoot.
Okay, so ball handling bigs that are supposed to facilitate. Giannis is a finisher at the rim. Ben, I think, just doesn't try to finish at the rim. So
I think he's afraid.
He definitely
Okay,
gave the
that's the
ball
same
up.
thing, same
He
thing.
definitely gave the ball up. I know you saw that play right underneath
if he,
your hoop.
I didn't say the reason.
He
I
was
didn't say
under
a
the roof.
reason
He's
why.
afraid.
I didn't say a reason that he didn't try. I just said he didn't try. Like, we're not like, you're splitting hairs. Like, it's just it's okay because he's scared. Fine. The reason is my point is still he ain't trying. You know, like, and for whatever reason, his lack of offensive aggression, because it's not like Giannis is a better free throw shooter either, but he just don't care, right? He'll still attack the rim and get those foul calls and go to the line and try to make his free throws. So
He is better free throw shooter. It's just ugly, but he is better.
Okay, fine. My ultimate point is that if Ben brings the skill set that he brings, he should be able to look more like Giannis does on the floor. You know, like that's really what I'm saying in terms of how he tries to attack the rim, where he attacks the rim from. He's a better ball handler. So if Giannis with his half a move and rim run speed boost all in the left hand, because we know he's going to gather, he's going to rhythm dribble, go left. If he can get to the rim that way, Ben should be able to do more, you know, like, and so I think that we got all mixed in with just, you know, like disproving whatever, you know, every little thing that I was saying. But my overall point was just what Ben, based on the tools that they both have in their toolbox, Ben should be able to do more of what Giannis does. And for whatever reason, I think it's just like you said it, be scared, you know, like, and that's why it doesn't happen.
So
but,
I will apologize because I was going at every point that you had. I've seen that argument over and over on Twitter and my group chats. Everyone but it's just like, yo, it's so disrespectful to Giannis. But your overall ending made sense. Like, Ben should be what Giannis is. He should be better because he has a natural skill. He's been playing basketball for way longer than Giannis. He has the handle. He has the
and Giannis is not
insight
doing
and
anything surprising, you know, to like get it done.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, he's not doing anything.
They have the same body, the frame, like, you know, like I mean, obviously Giannis is more chiseled.
He's more athletic.
Giannis cares about.
Yeah.
I don't even think he's more athletic, honestly. I just think he
care
works out a little more. like Ben just chilling. He's chilling with Kylie Jenner or Kendall. Sorry, I don't mean to disrespect you, Kendall. You know, listen, this guy. It's a double. It's a double.
He's
right?
DMing girls the night before Game 6. That's what he's doing. That's what's on his mind.
Yo,
so
Ben
it ultimately goes to your original statement that you made about Ben not caring, right? That ties into what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because I think that he has more skill than Giannis. You know, like that's what I think. You know, we can argue that on another
point
day.
Guard,
but he's more skilled. He's definitely more skilled.
So why you shouldn't be scoring 5 points? You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be scoring 5 points. Period.
Well, there's multiple games where he took 4 shots.
So to me, that's a lack of aggression, a lack of wanting it. You know what I mean? Because
how
when
many
you
games
have that
in the series did he go without attempting a shot in the fourth quarter?
You can go get 20 points in your sleep if you have that type of skill.
Or like one, or like
he didn't even
less than
attempt
2.
Field goal. He didn't even attempt a field goal in several games.
He's got to go. He's got to go.
Fourth quarter.
Last three games he has attempted. The maximum he's attempted at all is 6 shots, and he has
in the fourth quarter
6. No, in all the whole games. Like,
oh my God,
6 is the maximum game? He had. Yeah, this game he had 4. Last game he had 6. The game before they had 4 shot attempts.
Oh my God,
that's from your
point guard. Rondo shot more than that.
Max contract guy.
Yeah.
So if we gonna kill Rudy Gobert, Go
Yeah,
Bear.
yeah.
I was like, Go Bear.
No, you
If
know,
we're
you
gonna
right.
kill Go
You said it
Bird,
right. It was Gobert. You said it right. He was definitely
I
Gobert in
think
game
it, I
seven.
think it's
kill
time to
this guy,
transition
man.
to Gobert too.
So,
By the
so
way,
I just want to make sure that everybody on the pod, before we finish up and move on, at least remembers to give the guru of not gonna lie his props for not yet making an incorrect prediction so far. So I oh yeah, I picked Bucks. Yeah, we threw that in real quick, right? See, oh, you should have left it alone.
Oh,
You should
see,
have just let
I
me
don't
finish.
know. I don't know because it seemed like
You
you
heard
said. I thought
Bucks
you were talking about Game 6,
with
which you was
with,
right
with
about Game 6.
yeah, yeah. No. You're talking about Atlanta?
I didn't know if you were saying the series or Game 6 because we were like,
Oh, I got you.
yeah.
I got you.
But you was
That's
right
fair.
regardless. Yeah.
That's fair. I'll be honest and say I meant the series. I didn't mean the series. I didn't mean the series. I picked Atlanta. They were a game late. They were a game late. You know, I thought that they were going to close them out in Atlanta. I didn't think that Philly was going to be able to recover from that. They did, and then all of the things that you just highlighted showed up in game seven. It was just like a microcosm. It was like, okay, you don't have a playmaker. We do. You know, like like yeah, and Joel just couldn't. He did everything that he possibly could. You know, so I think it's time to blow it up in Philly. It's time to blow it up in Philly. In my opinion, I don't know what that looks like, but
I know it's. I mean, you send Ben Simmons to OKC. Everybody wins. OKC probably becomes a playoff team with Ben dribbling the ball up, and then they lose very quickly in the first round. And then they free up some. I don't know. Whoever will take Ben Simmons, you get him out of there. But yo, we gotta give Trey some love. We gotta give
absolutely
Booker some
we
love.
haven't. I know Bentley don't want to give him no love. I know Bentley don't want to give him no love.
Nah, it's actually easy to root for the team that beat your team because
that's what I was gonna say. No, that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say.
I'm rooting for the Bucks now just because it's like, yo, Bucks winning. It's like, yo, Nets lost.
We lost to the champs.
Nets basically lost in the chip. They basically lost in the chip to the chip team.
No, but listen, Ben. At least this is what I was gonna say.
I know what you're gonna say.
Nah, you got a football mindset though. Ben got a football mindset. Like
I was just about to say that's like me. Obi, my first example was about to be that's like me rooting for the Patriots after they beat me. That will never happen.
Right? No. So I'm not saying that you necessarily
in a 7-game series. In a 7-game series, it's different. Like
yeah. I'm not saying that you necessarily have to root for them, but what I'm saying is the further they progress,
the better.
The champs beat us. Ooh, no, that's not a trophy for that.
Y'all didn't blow it. You know what I mean? Like y'all didn't lose a series that you should have won. You know what I mean? Or, you know what I mean? Like that's that. And I'm not saying that you need to cheer for them, for that, but it definitely gives you ammo in the Knicks season was a fluke.
So when I'm discussing
example.
loser talk with another loser team, I can say, I lost to the Hawks, but I lost to the Nets.
Like CJ
McCollum?
Like CJ McCollum?
But exactly. I was going to go I don't know if that was the topic, but I was going to say that you don't want to be like the Blazers where your team loses to a loser. And then the Nuggets get swept. The team that you get cooked by a team that gets swept in the next round, meaning that you had no hopes in the playoffs. Like that's the last thing you want. Like,
somebody tell Stefan.
It sounds cute.
Somebody tell Urkel to stay his ass off Twitter. You went home. Stop commenting on other dudes losing. Like you look dumb. Like
he looks even more dumb because Giannis won the series.
Listen, man, I don't want to talk no more.
Came back, I'm gonna see. Yeah, but
I don't want to talk no more basketball for the rest. Like, yo, how are these Jets, man? What we gonna talk? That's all I'm talking now, man. Nets is out, man.
All our teams are out, so all our teams are out. We might as well move on to the football season.
Yeah, but your bum ass team should be out, man. That should be in here, man. Nah, I'm trying to find a win anywhere. You know? Trying to find a win anywhere. Listen.
Don't you, I wish that there more of these basketball wives were on the court side showing love like KD's mama afterwards. That was
beautiful.
Yo,
that was beautiful.
And me and my wife were
watching the real
MVP. And, yeah, OD. Me and my wife were watching, and she was like, I've never seen any other women do that. I was like, yeah, because they're the wives, not the mama. Like, I was like, that's
Relax.
mama. You know,
Relax.
they not they don't want you sweating them up. You know, sweating on them with their little
Yeah.
outfit.
Yeah.
But shouts, shouts to them. I thought that was really cool, and especially like I said, I'm not a huge KD dude. He earned so much of my, and again, it's very specific. My beefs with KD are very very specific. We'll get into them, another day. But I got to give him props for what he was able to do in these playoffs, and I'm gonna leave him nameless, but someone in a group chat that me and Bentley are in. Look, if you love LeBron, it's okay. If you love KD, it's okay. If you hate either of them, it's okay. One does not have to have anything to do with the other. Like, you don't have to root for the downfall of one because you think it's gonna improve the legacy of the other. Like, somebody said after KD lost that game, and I'm paraphrasing, yo, man, KD, see, man, he just not built like that. If that
What?
let me finish.
That game?
Let me finish. If that was LeBron, if that was Kobe, if that was MJ, they win that game. And the only thing I said was, and it was my team, so I hated to have to make the reference, but you realize LeBron was literally just in almost the same exact
Scenario, like,
So, but my
a similar
point was,
quality team.
the dude that said it is I respect his basketball acumen. So when dudes make statements like that, and when I see it on Twitter, I can tell that they're just such a prisoner of whatever narrative they have attached themselves to. You know what I mean? And it skews your opinion, and it makes you seem, I guess, fanatical, right? I guess that's the point. But it was nuts to me. Let KD have his flowers. Whatever the other things that happened has nothing to do with it. Any player of his caliber that was put in that situation could have possibly done what he did, and that's it.
So let me just end it on this. The not gonna lie, the luckiest person right now is Kendall Jenner. Because if Ben Simmons got into the finals, who's she gonna choose? You know how Ben Simmons and Booker they share her. So like, she's a G, by the way. Like, that's crazy in itself. But you good, Earl? Like, you good? I don't know. This nigga just turned the. I don't know if you froze. But
Did I freeze?
I don't know. You was looking down and shit. But all right, we ended there, man.
Yo, we love y'all. Please like and subscribe. We're gonna be adding some new features for y'all coming soon. We're gonna have audio available for you guys that are only interested in just listening to the pod, possibly while you're on the go. Please like, subscribe, give comments. We love your suggestions. We love your feedback. I'm Earl. That's Matt. Obi in the bottom. Not gonna lie. Holla.
Yes, sir.